Oh well, it's now seen it all.
You do what you want to do.
Okay, I'll do that.
Whatever makes you feel comfortable.
It's like a little bit like a spider, but like
no, but it's like cool though. It's like casual, like
okay.
I just woke up like this, kind of, but I look amazing.
That's exactly what I wanted. Thank you. So, hello and welcome to the Sunday Social. This is a podcast which I do where I speak to people in the arts, entertainment and social media industries and talk to them a bit about what they do, how they got there, and I make them brunch.
Thank you.
This is Laura and Aquilina.
Hi.
Yeah, you got the full explanation
I
in case you didn't know already.
You did make me brunch.
I did. What did we have?
We had toast.
It wasn't
Toast.
It's like a breakfast brunch.
Yeah.
So we did toast with...
Toast was all that I ever want, really, so
Yeah, good.
it was good.
What did... You had jam.
I had jam.
Raspberry jam.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Mm.
And lemon and ginger tea because Lauren's off to a session.
And I'm ill, which you might have to
Yeah. I guess that kind of doesn't matter when you're doing like demos.
No, and also I've been with artists all this week, so I don't actually have to do any singing.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I have to sing in the room, like sing the ideas, but I don't have to get on the mic.
Get on the mic.
And then because when you're on the mic, if you have the slightest bit of a cold,
Yeah.
it like you can hear.
Oh yeah.
Clearly,
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, so I try not to explain what my guests do because often they do lots of things and would describe themselves completely differently to how their Wikipedia would. So could you please describe in your own words what your job is and what you do?
I'm currently a songwriter and I write songs with and for other artists. But I've only been doing this for about 9 months properly, and before that I was an artist. I've been a professional musician for 5 years.
Yeah.
I started releasing music when I was 17, and
You did, didn't you?
yeah,
That was the
I know.
EPs. Oh
yeah,
my god.
I was so small. And I I was signed to a major label. I did the whole. I went on tour, did the whole thing, but in the end, I decided that it wasn't for me at that time, and I wasn't happy. So my new thing is like when you're unhappy, just make a big change. So I did, and I was just like, I'm just gonna not do this for a bit.
Yeah.
See what happens.
You retired from being a musician, and that was a really brave thing, I think, because you had to put out a statement in the same way that like YouTube couples have to if they break up. You had to basically break up with the music industry.
Yeah, I did. And
I
really
your fans even in a way.
Yeah, that bit I felt bad about. But I knew I was doing the right thing. I spent 6 months of last year in a very dark depression hole. Like the morning that my album came out, I just woke up and cried because it was very strange, like getting to the point where like I was releasing my first album on a major label, which is what I dreamed of since I was 5.
Yeah.
But it wasn't happening the way I imagined at all.
Mm.
Yeah, like I thought it would come out and I would be doing this crazy promo tour and I'd be meeting loads of fans and like and what the reality of it was that I woke up in my flat alone.
Yeah.
And I had nothing to do that day. Like it was so weird. That was for me. It was just I was relieved that it came out, and I'm still like proud of it as a person. It's
a really good pop album.
Thank you.
Like I still have songs on my playlist and I still listen to it.
Bless your heart.
It's alright. But like that's the thing, because you were very, as far as I'm aware, relatively easily able to transition into songwriting because everyone knew you could write songs.
I hope so. But then there's also a thing which I've discovered is mostly like a London music industry thing, because I've spent a bit of time in LA as well, and LA seems to be way more accepting of people getting dropped and people having to have a few goes at things.
Yeah.
But in London there seems to be like a real stigma, and I do this myself, like with other artists, and I have to slap myself for it, but it's like, oh, she's the girl that got dropped, and like you really like have like a reputation. So I had to work. I knew if I wanted to be a writer, I was going to have to work to change that reputation from being a dropped artist to somebody that people trusted to be in the room.
Yeah, and I think you've done that. At
least getting there.
From what I've heard,
yeah,
you've definitely managed it. and it really did feel like you turned any reputation you did have around pretty fast. Like in the following 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I'm just having a great time now, and I feel like I'm doing what I was supposed to be doing. And it doesn't mean that I'll like never be an artist again. Because like the seed is there now again of me starting to think about it, but it will take like probably a year or 2 years for me to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I actually want to release something.
Yeah.
Because it's all going to have to be on my own terms and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Something I've learned relatively recently is that you're like, basically you need to make people wait for stuff with what you do. Like with music, you have to make people be gagging for your music, and that means like people in the actual industry itself. Well, there's no point doing anything because no one will fight your corner.
Yeah.
And I think, it's such a shame that a lot of people get to the point where they need money and so they have to sign a deal because you need to make people just like.
I think I signed my deal too early. I think I wasn't ready at all.
You wouldn't have known better though. Surely you were 19 or something.
I was 18.
Yeah.
It was literally like almost the day after I finished school, because I got offered record deals before. Like I think I got offered my first deal when I was 16, but my mum was like, "You're gonna finish your A levels," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So I finished my A levels, and then it was like bam. But I just didn't know who I was as an artist at that point. And then labels, like if it takes too long, they lose interest. They've signed someone new, or And to be fair, no, I got so lucky. My A&R stayed, and he was so amazing like the whole time. But I think because I was doing so well before I got signed, they just thought it was a done deal. So then when it didn't happen straight away, like when I didn't get radio support, they were like, "Oh, we don't know what to do now."
Surely I thought radio support works literally in terms of this might be like, maybe I can't put this in, but literally the label pays. And it just does get put on playlists?
No.
Really?
No.
Interesting.
I mean, maybe that happens, but I think that would be kind of illegal, but...
Oh, really?
There's so many different roles at a label, but I had what you call a radio plugger. So the radio plugger is representing a few different artists at one time, and they go into radio and whatever, and they pitch the song to them. And it's out of their hands then whether they like it or not, but they can do everything they can to try and pitch it. They can say, "Oh, she sold 100,000 EPs, and it's got this many streams already, and it's hyped, and you should be supporting this because it makes you look good as a radio station that you are getting on this early." And they try and pitch it that way, but it's not guaranteed.
Okay, that's really interesting.
And in my case, radio stations told my radio plugger that there were too many new pop females coming out at one time.
Really?
Yeah, and they didn't have space for me.
That's interesting. Who were your direct competitors then at that time? Because I can think like Birdie.
Yeah, I mean, the new ones, the prominent ones were Dua Lipa and Anne-Marie.
Okay.
Which is funny now because they're both huge. Or they're both on the Dua especially, and Anne-Marie is like gonna be huge.
Well, she's on Ed Sheeran's management, right?
Yeah, which I was on too at that time.
Oh,
yeah.
This is all like revelations.
But I remember people telling me, "Oh, it's between you and Dua and Anne-Marie and I think Francis at the time as well, who's a friend of mine." Like, they try and put girls up against each other.
It's so silly though, because while you all make pop, you all make such different pop. Or at least at that time, you're making completely different pop. Like, Dua's very centre, and yet you were like, you could have been Radio 2 at that point. Yeah. Like, you were way more mellow, way more almost Lucy Rose-esque.
I think that we did get offered Radio 2 as well, but I think that my team were like, "Oh, that's the wrong route to go because it's like not cool." Yeah. Even though that could have got me way more record sales or something. I don't know.
Well, it's the Jessie Ware thing. Like, she's Radio 2 darling, kind of. Yeah. And yet she's still got loads of resonance with people.
I think she still gets played on Radio 1 too, which is like goals.
Yeah.
That's like what every artist wants, is to be across everything. I remember loads of people when George Ezra came out were talking about that, how he he'd got on Radio 1, but he'd also got on Radio 2, and he'd also got on Capital and Heart, and like he just covered everything. It was so like universal. That's what happened to me basically. And I got so bad that I had to put up this statement saying I'm not gonna release music anymore, because people were tweeting me and stuff like, oh, when are you gonna do your album tour? I didn't have the heart to be like, I'm not doing one.
I remember you telling me you weren't able to do the tour, and I didn't really understand the weight of that at the time. It's just like, oh, that's a shame, but you've toured before, right? So it's just like, okay, but like that was a really big statement from your label.
Yeah. I mean that, like, I fully understand, because as I said, like, I was doing so well before, so I had a lot of money pumped into me because they thought it was like surefire success.
Yeah.
And then when it started to look like it wasn't going to happen, it was suddenly like the money tap was turned off, and touring costs so much money.
Yeah, I'm realising through seeing what Dodie's up to.
Yeah, when you're starting out, it really costs so much, you don't make money from it, so obviously as a business you're not going to spend more money on something that isn't doing well, so I didn't get to do an album tour.
It makes me so sad now, because I'm just like, there was so much music that just hasn't been performed.
I know.
Oh.
But maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe.
Like a 10-year comeback show.
Oh my god, did you go see the Made of Bricks one?
No.
Kate Nash's one was so good.
Did you go?
Yeah, so Josh got me tickets. I got him tickets to go see Stormzy, and he was like so excited about it, and then texted me like 3 weeks later like, so I have Kate Nash tickets for the Made of Bricks 10-year tour, do you want to be my like +1?
Sick.
I just, yes.
Was it at Shepherd's Bush Empire?
Yeah, Shepherd's Bush
My
Empire.
favourite venue.
It's a nice venue.
It's my favourite.
Do you know the only people I've seen there are Kate Nash and Emma Blackery?
Oh, sick.
They're the only artists. What was I going to say? Oh, and Dodie. Did Dodie play there? No, she played Go-Go.
I think she will next year though. I think that's like the next step up, which is just crazy because like...
What's after Shepherd's Bush Empire? Is it Brixton? Can't be Brixton.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it must be.
I mean, if you're looking at capacities, like Coco is like 1,500 I think, and then Shepherd's Bush is 2,500, and then Brixton is 5,000, so...
Interesting. Learning a lot.
Yeah.
So, I was wanting to ask you, I think the majority of people watching this who find it through searching will either be Laura and Aquilina fans, so they'll know this already, or there'll be people who want to learn how to become a songwriter or how to be a musician. And I remember coming across your Justin Bieber cover. That's my first introduction to you, and I was like, oh, she's really cool, and started following you on Facebook where you got loads of traction. And then
back when Facebook was cool.
Yeah, when Facebook worked.
Yeah.
And then we ended up meeting in 2014 at Sitsi. But
Was that where we first met?
so I did a poem on a stage. I don't really remember the
Oh,
context. And you came up to me and you were like, you just are a really beautiful writer. And I was like, oh, Laura thinks I'm a good writer. That's really nice. But yeah, how did you get that attention? And do you think that now still works? Because this was 5-6 years ago that you were really posting covers on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, it was a different time and like that was the way to do it. So I posted covers maybe twice or once a month, and I was very smart with it without realising because I like the Justin Bieber one, for example, that song leaked. It was his song Boyfriend. The song leaked and I happened to only have one sixth form period that day or something, so as soon as I got home I saw that the song had leaked and I thought, if I can cover this today before the actual song comes out, people are going to be looking for the song.
Yeah.
So people are going to come across me.
Yeah.
And that video got like 250,000 in 2 weeks, which was my most viewed video ever at the time. So I didn't really realise like how smart I was being with it, but I sort of knew what to cover and strategically what was going to get views, but then I've actually taken that video down now because obviously I'm not that proud of it. But there are ones that didn't get as many views that I'm like more proud of.
Yeah. So that is still a Laura and Aquilina YouTube presence?
I mean...
Well, like, as in, like, the old stuff is still up there?
Some of it is.
Okay.
What I choose.
Yeah.
To,
so it's still your channel and you've retained the control of it. That's good.
I don't have control over my Vivo.
No.
So all the stuff that's on my Vivo, I like is just there forever. But I like all of it. I like all of it. So
yeah.
it's
Exactly. And it's nice quality. It's like good quality stuff on Vivo, which is always a relief.
Yeah. But so I was doing YouTube covers, and I was like, when I was 15, I got an email from this guy who said he worked at Sony at the time, and he was like, I want to help you out, I want to manage you, and I was like, cool. We met up, and like he was cool. We started working together, and he was so amazing at social media. Like he just had it down. I think he'd done a degree in computer science or something. He just knew. He knew about the Facebook algorithms. He knew about everything.
Because you were all over my Facebook.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking...
And that was purposefully.
Yeah. But like, even with paid posts, no one else was anywhere near that with me.
Yeah.
Like, I remember Orla did paid posts and she'd come up half the time.
But it was... he just knew what he was doing. So I kind of let him get on with it. And I carried on doing covers, but also started putting up originals. And then I'd been writing loads at home and had these 4 songs that I liked. There was one producer that I knew that I'd also met through the internet.
Yeah. No way.
But we didn't have any money to pay him, so I gave him 10% of the writing credits on all of the songs as payment.
Yeah.
And then we recorded what became Fool's EP.
And Fools was one of the songs on that, and that one did super well.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I just like... I can't remember if that came out first. I think it did, the video, and then the EP came out like a few weeks later, but... We were so, me and my manager at the time, I don't think we even realised that we had it sussed, but because, we were talking about this earlier, because I'm a fangirl at heart, like I used to queue for hours to get to the front of Ed Sheeran gigs and Ellie Goulding gigs, and like I'm a fangirl at heart. I know what it feels like, so I kind of treated people how I would want to be treated as a fangirl. Yeah. Not that I had like fangirls at that time, but I had people that were interested. Yeah. So I was like, if you send me a screenshot of you pre-ordering the EP on iTunes, when that was still a thing, then I'll put your name in the thank yous page of the booklet. Because I was like, that's just like a cool thing to do. And then...
That's such a good idea.
Yeah. And then through that because of that, we got 1,000 pre-orders, which meant that when the EP came out at midnight, it went straight to the top 10 on iTunes. And then when it's in the top 10, it's on the iTunes homepage, everyone sees it. So it is like, we had all this visibility that we didn't know we were going to have just from me doing YouTube covers. I think I had about 8,000 likes on Facebook from my YouTube covers. So very, very small.
God, it's so grassroots. What's really interesting now is that people really blow up very fast. Whereas this was, you had an audience and you utilised every part of the relatively small audience.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk to everybody. I tried to reply to everybody, especially in the beginning, because like that's what I would have wanted as a fan. Like if I messaged Ellie Goulding and she replied, I would have been so excited. So like that's what I wanted to give back to people, and I loved doing it as well. I was just so in my absolute element.
I always think that the thing that if I were a musician I'd do is do really small shows every so often, because I went to small shows from big artists. I went to Ellie Goulding and there were 250 people capacity, and I was like, this is amazing. Like 15-year-old me was freaking out that I was able to do it. Yeah. And there's something so nice about giving back to fans in the way that you would want to be receiving music.
So cool. I've forgotten what your question was. Oh, about like how to become a writer. I went on a real tangent.
Down one. I was gonna ask. Would you say so? There's kind of 2 separate questions. One, do you think people can still utilize, not necessarily doing covers and uploading them, but utilize the internet in a more personality-based way, which is what I think uploading covers kind of does, because people really associate your face with your brand. Do you think that's still viable now?
Oh yes, the internet is like the biggest tool we have. Like, look at Dodie, like it's amazing. Like she just sold out Coco, which most artists who are signed to record labels can't do. Yeah, like it's just from her being herself, and that's what people fall in love with. Yeah, rightly so, because she's lovely. But it's like the biggest tool we have for sure.
Yeah, I agree. But I do think there's a stigma about in the music industry of people who come from YouTube. And I really want to see that taken down, and I know why it exists. It's because I think, at least, the music industry is very traditional, and it really is like in its ways, and there's a real coolness thing. You have to be very cool.
Yeah.
And obviously getting famous on the internet isn't that cool. So
I mean, kind of. There's the thing at the moment that I think is like the whole mystery factor, which I just wasn't. Like, I gave all of myself.
But you did it in such a tasteful way.
Did I?
I think so. It's not like you were like if there's something like political, I'm like, oh, fuck this. Like, I run my mouth on the internet.
Right.
Whereas yours was way more just connecting with people.
Yeah, I think so. But there's the thing now is just, it's very like, when a lot of artists come out now and they're like faceless for their first song, you don't see any pictures of them. It's all about the mystery and like, who is it? And that's what's appealing to people. Whereas when you come from YouTube, people already know all of your shit. Like, they know everything about you. So it's just two different sides of the coin. But I as a fan, like knowing about the artist. Like, I really like it when I feel like I know them.
Yeah, I agree. I much prefer to know them. But a lot of the music I like is of this faceless, mysterious. Or like even Banks. I think of as just like very mysterious woman. Yeah. And
but
so
she's kind of become more comfortable with sharing stuff. Like, at the beginning it was so...
Yeah, it really, really was. But now it's more... So I'm just checking that.
Is the memory card going to be...
Yeah, God, no. Yeah, now it's more... I really love seeing people's musicians' Instagram stories. Banks is one of them. Drake has started posting. Champagne Pappy, my main man.
And that's something that we didn't have when I came out. Like, Instagram stories and Snapchat wasn't a thing 5 years ago. So it is like, you really feel like, you know, if whoever is just filming themselves in the passenger seat of a car, like, it's very like intimate.
Yeah, definitely.
Thing.
And like, you see the behind the scenes of all of these events you would never have seen before. You get to see like backstage at every show someone does with Instagram stories.
And even Taylor Swift now is doing these like behind the song things. Have you seen them?
No,
where she's
I
like,
haven't.
she's filmed herself in the studio, like making the album. You can tell that it's filmed on like a photo booth on a MacBook.
That's really cool. I really love that. I watch loads of like Kanye West deconstructed kind of, you know, the kind of what they call video essays that started coming out about musicians. I watch loads about Kanye because I think his process is so cool. And I'm just like,
I need to watch those.
Oh my god, I'll send you some really good ones.
I would love that.
They just dig out old footage and stuff and then like super analyze him as a person.
God.
Anyway,
what if someone did that to you?
I know. Terrifying. Okay. So speaking of Taylor Swift, I said I was going to ask your opinion on Reputation as a Taylor Swift. Are you a fan? I feel like
oh my god, yes! I'm like the biggest Taylor Swift fan ever.
So I wasn't a fan until this album.
Really?
I
you
just
didn't like 1989?
No, I think the thing for me with Taylor Swift is that she has access to the best people in her industry. Why weren't the songs better? Like songs like is it Clean? I'd always be like, oh my
god, I love that song.
Imogen
Heap and Taylor Swift, like two of my favourite power women.
Then maybe it wasn't that one. There's some that I would listen to and I like Out of the Woods. I just like that chorus. I'm just like really super indifferent to.
That's the best thing about music, is that like you're never gonna please everybody.
Yeah. Whereas I thought the singles were amazing.
Yeah.
And actually, I don't really like Bad Blood's chorus, but I like all the like. I don't know. The singles are good, but then like, and Wildest Dreams is good, but then that, I don't know. I just wasn't a fan really. Right. And then I like how adventurous she's been on Reputation. I think and also she's in a room. It's like her, Jack Antonoff, and then the occasional other person that she's evidently sent a song to. Just been like, make it.
I looked up the album credits. It's literally half and half between Jack and Max Martin.
Yeah.
Max Martin is like, for anyone that doesn't know, is like the biggest pop producer of our time. Did all the Britney Spears stuff and Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
And then Jack Antonoff obviously did the Lord album, was in Fun, and is now doing the Bleachers stuff.
Yeah.
But it was like half and half between Jack and Max. But then Taylor is basically the only top liner on the whole
Yeah. I thought it
record.
was so interesting. And I like the idea of her shutting herself away with these two guys, effectively, in a couple of houses for like a year and writing what's on her mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, how did you find it? What did you like? What didn't you like?
I don't like it as much as 1989, but I think 1989 was always going to be such a special album for me because at the time it came out, what I was going through, I just like related to it so strongly, and I'd never heard anything like that before, and I was just so excited about it. But in general, like, I love it.
Yeah.
There's a song called So It Goes, which seems to be everyone's like least favourite, but it's my favourite. I just think the production is incredible, and I love the emotion that it gives. I
really like I Did Something Bad.
That's a really good one.
It's so angry.
Yeah, it's so angry.
It's like a kind of, not a new side, but like this whole album is almost cinematic in how shouty it is. Just like really, really scary.
And also it's just like a statement because people are always saying that she plays the victim and stuff. Yeah. And then the title itself, like, I Did Something Bad.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's owning it.
Yeah.
Which I like. It's cool. Oh. I just love her.
Yeah. Good. And you've met her, so you know. Well,
yeah.
You've met her on what have I done here? Met her in a very like, I assume like quite a brief instance.
Do you know, it wasn't brief.
That's good.
I actually hung out with her for like 2 hours.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Which still I just can't believe happened to me, but I was sitting at home when I still lived with my mum. I was sitting at home. It was like 1 a.m, and I was downstairs eating Nutella out of the jar and watching Harry Potter. And then I had my laptop next to me, like with Twitter open, but I wasn't really looking at it because I was watching Harry. And then suddenly I see like the screen of my laptop just like start going crazy. And I was like, what's going on? And I look, and she had tweeted saying that she liked Fool's EP. And obviously I was just like, oh.
I would have exploded.
I like burst into tears. I called my publisher at like 1 a.m. He was like, what the fuck? And I was like, Taylor Swift just tweeted about Fool's EP. He was like, oh my god, that's amazing.
What an angel.
I was so excited, and I just rode that high for a while, and then a couple of weeks later I got an email from a promoter saying that he'd just had lunch with her and her managers, and she had asked for me to open her Hyde Park show. And there were a few openers, it wasn't just me.
Well, it's like Nina did it this year, didn't she, for someone?
Yeah, but I was so excited. So then we did that gig, and I was kind of like hanging around her trailer after, but obviously there's like really heavy security.
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether to say anything, but I was like, this is my one chance to meet her. She said that she liked Fool, so I know that she's like aware of who I am. And
you're not gonna walk up and she'll be like, who? She's seen your face.
So I said to the security guy, I was like, look, I'm one of the openers. She sent me this tweet. I'd love to just meet her really briefly and say thank you. And he was like, let me go check and see if she knows who you are. Like, what's your name? I was like, Lauren Aquilina. So he comes back, he was like, yeah, she'd love to meet you, but I need to see your ID to make sure that you are who you say you are. My ID was in my dressing room, so I had to walk with him for 20 minutes to my dressing room because we're in Hyde Park, which is huge. Get my ID, show him, and then I came back and I walked into her area, and she came out of the trailer and she just ran up to me and she was like, Lauren, and I was like, oh my god.
Literally all of your dreams.
I know. I think I sort of played it cool enough at the time, but obviously I was freaking out.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to.
And also it was just like, it wasn't just her. So she takes me into the trailer and she starts introducing me to everybody, and then I realise that she's introducing me to Emma Watson and Gwyneth Paltrow. And I'm like, oh. And everyone is so tall and glamorous, and I'm just there and she's introduced, she was like, this is Lauren, she's one of my favourite songwriters, and I was like, oh my god. just the whole time I was just like, oh my god. But we hung out. She took me to her like fan meetup thing that she does after every show, and introduced me to the fans, and like I was chatting to them, and
That's wonderful.
I was just hanging out with her, and like we were drinking vodka out of red cups, and it was like the American dream. And,
in Hyde Park.
Yeah. It was so crazy.
That is fascinating.
But she was amazing. Like, she's so intelligent and she's so aware, but she's also so nice. Like, genuinely nice. She didn't have to do that. She didn't have to invite me to open the show and meet me afterwards. Like, there was nothing in it for her. I'm not like a big artist.
Yeah.
So
No, you're so right.
It was very cool.
Very, very cool.
I love telling that story. It's
So
my favourite story. And then I left and I got into an Uber, and I was just by myself, like, because all of my friends had to go home. I think all of my friends went back to my flat without me because they were obviously all waiting to hear.
Oh,
like,
did you live at that flat at the time?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. I got into the Uber. I said to the Uber driver, he was like, "How was your evening going?" And I was like, "I just met Taylor Swift." And he was like, "Yeah, I was okay, whatever." And I get home and all of my friends there like, "Tell us everything."
That's such a nice experience.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the best days of my life. It was so fun.
Yeah. Ooh. Right. I feel like
anyway, back to the serious bit of music industry
stuff. So if someone wants to be a songwriter,
mm-hmm.
let's say, so they don't necessarily want to be an artist, but they think they can do the songwriting and they love it, or production, what advice would you give to them on how to start working with people?
Oh, I mean, it's because I came from being an artist to a songwriter, it's a different route, but there are people who just go straight into being songwriters, and I think it's sometimes it's just to do with friends. I have a friend called Jinjin who wrote. She's an amazing writer, and she wrote a lot of the Jess Glynne stuff with her, and I think that came from her and Jess just being friends first.
Interesting.
And then her getting involved in that, and then through that she started working with other people.
Yeah.
I think it's still a case of like putting yourself out there. So my brother, for example, is at ACM in Guildford right now, which is a music college, and that's going down that route is amazing because I don't believe fully in teaching songwriting. He's on a production course, which I do think you can teach. Yeah. I don't believe that you can teach like a sense of melody. I think that's something that comes naturally over time as you just do it.
And you can't teach someone to write lyrics.
No.
Like.
But I think that going to a music college is like a really great route just because you meet other people.
I was just thinking that must be a really good, or if you're classically trained, like I had dinner with a girl yesterday who's classically trained in flute, I think, and so she just met loads of people and ended up being at a writing camp at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and I really hated it when I was younger when people said to me, "Oh, it's not what you know, it's who you know," but it is largely to do with that, and networking is always a good thing, so music college could be really good for that, and also just doing it every day.
Yeah. And loads of people went to like ACM, for example. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but other than my housemate Lan, she was at ACM, but she always names these famous people or like famous songwriters. I think maybe Labyrinth, but like a bunch of people who are like well known. She'd be like, "Oh, they were at ACM as well."
Yeah. So I think that's a good route to go. But then if you can't do that, or if you're older maybe, and it's like, I'm too old to go to college now. Am I too old? Can you go at any age?
You can go, yeah, with a college you can go at most stages. I mean, you wouldn't be doing A-level-ish courses, you'd be like a diploma.
Got you.
In singing or something, I don't know.
But if I wanted to go and I couldn't, or for whatever reason, then I think I would still use the internet and just go down that route of putting yourself out there. Yeah. And if you really search, then you can find people's emails online. You can really find a lot of stuff, and like there's lots of stories about Ed Sheeran just waiting outside record labels until 5 p.m. when everybody left, and him handing them CDs, and just
I can't even imagine that now.
You have to be a hustler because so many people want to do it, and this is something that I'm saying to. I have a lot of friends who want to do it, and they're so talented, but they can't. They're not getting on it because you're not hustling. Like I will help you as much as I can, but you have to have that drive in yourself to go out there and like cold email people, and obviously never be rude or be like or cross the line, but you kind of have to have balls as well. Just send your songs to people and, you know, learn production at home. Yeah. Record your own demos. Like you really can't wait for it to happen to you. That would be like my biggest advice. You've just got to go out there and do it.
That's really good advice. Yeah, I'm trying to learn production at the moment because I know that's like just basic shit. Because that's the one thing I really can't do, and that's what's holding me back from a lot of what I'm doing. And it's just like one day.
Yeah. I mean, I can't do it either, but I would love to learn one day. But it's a conscious decision that I'm making right now to focus on the melody and the lyrics and like just really go in on that. Yeah. And I'm also lucky enough to be in a position where I know enough people that I have like a group of producers that I love that I can always work with.
Yeah, you've got a really good, something I've noticed about you is you've got really good connections to the people that you really gel with.
Yeah.
Like you have not just one person that you really work well with, but maybe like 6.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Which is kind of weird because my housemate Chloe, who's also an artist and a musician, was saying to me last night, she was like, oh, you're so good at like networking and talking to people, and I was like, no, I'm not, because I'm actually one of the most awkward people I know. Like I'm so introverted and awkward, but when I do have a genuine click with somebody, I really like grab onto it.
Yeah.
For dear life, and just go with it and basically force people until they like me. I'm like, work with me again.
Because it's also you've been in the industry a lot longer than Chloe has in London as well, and I think I get comments on the YouTube side being like, how do you know so many people in YouTube, and how do you know all these people? And it's literally, I've been around for a really long time now, comparatively, and like it's not, I don't know, it wasn't a conscious decision.
But also you probably knew all these people from online before, like Orla Garton.
Yeah.
When she lived in Dublin and I lived in Windsor, we were both making YouTube videos, we were both doing the same thing, we knew we were the same age, and I'd come across some of her videos before and she'd come across some of mine. Eventually we just started talking to each other. And we started Skyping and we became best friends over Skype.
Oh, I love that.
Because we were like, at that point we thought that nobody else understood us. We were like, oh, we're the only ones that are trying to balance school and music and it's so hard, and like, that you understand me, Orla. And we became best friends through the internet because the internet is amazing. You can just reach out to peers that are doing the same thing as you, because there was no one at my school that wanted to do the same thing that I did, so I didn't know who to talk to about it, so I kind of went to Twitter and found these other people.
It's a shame SoundCloud isn't what it was.
Yeah.
Because I always think SoundCloud was the best tool for getting your music out, because people will, like management and A&Rs will just click through and click through and click through until they found something.
Yeah, I mean they still do.
So I've been told.
A&Rs are still always looking for stuff. My manager now is an A&R and he's constantly looking through SoundCloud and YouTube and stuff and finding new people, and he actually discovered Chloe like 6 years ago when she was making YouTube videos, and like...
Is Chloe making YouTube videos? I can't even imagine that now.
I know. They met for the first time in real life yesterday. They had a meeting.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So people are looking for stuff, and if your stuff is good and you're putting yourself out there, then I really do believe that people will come. But I also believe in just working on yourself and writing a song every single day. This is what I'm telling my friends at the moment who like want to be songwriters. I'm like, write every day, send it to me every day.
Do you like receiving music?
Yeah.
I will totally send you more music then. I'm always writing, and I have a little group of people that I always send stuff out to.
I would love to.
What do you think of it? Like, do you think it's worthy of me working on it more?
I can be quite brutal sometimes.
No, I want that though. This is not really podcast stuff, but like I want honest opinions about actual stuff, because like I think sometimes you can write something and be like, this is the best thing I've written in ever, and then you listen to it a week later and you're either like, this is still the best thing I wrote, or you're like, I can't believe I thought this was good.
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
Yeah, I think that about most of my songs.
Yeah.
But like, as I was saying before, like, cold email people, like, including myself, like, I'm not saying that I'm like the key to the industry, but I'm somebody whose email you can find online.
Yeah.
Who, if you send your music to me, I might think it's okay and I might respond saying, like, keep going. Or I might think it's amazing and I might pass it on to my manager or my A&R because I'm like, you know, like, so just, or I might not respond.
Yeah. You might just be like, this is best for me to just leave it.
But like, what's the harm in emailing me or emailing anybody?
Yeah.
Not just me.
Yeah. I mean, a guy I'm friends with, called Tom, he cold emailed his current manager about 5 or 6 times before his manager actually took any interest in him. Yeah. Every time he'd really politely reply and be like, sorry Tom, not this time. And then as soon as Tom dropped an actual song, instantly Sam went back to him and was like, let's have a meeting in your town. Whereabouts do you live? Let's go. Mm-hmm. Like it takes persistence.
And also like people get so scared of it, but there's this big songwriter called Toby Gad who wrote All of Me, John Legend, If I Were a Boy, Beyonce, like some of my favourite songs. I cold emailed him again about 3 or 4 times over the past 4 years, and like no response because he's like a huge songwriter.
But what do you say when are you just like, listen to my songs, or are you like, can I work with you? Let me know when you're in London.
I think I'm just like, hey, hope you don't mind me emailing you, but I'm a songwriter and I'd love to work with you. Here's some stuff I've written recently.
Yeah.
Check it out, but obviously no worries if not.
Yeah.
But then I ended up working with him a month ago.
No way!
Yeah. through somebody else setting it up for me when I was in LA, and it was just such a nice moment that I was like, I got here in the end, and it was so great, and he was so great. Like, aww. It was such a nice moment. But yeah, there's nothing to be lost from actually just going out there and fighting for yourself, even if it seems embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You kind of have to embarrass yourself.
You do. And that's with anything you want to break into as well. That is just like, I'm having to learn how to cold email, and it's so scary. I had to cold email Topshop's PR the other day, and I just felt like such a dick. I was like, I really would like some clothes. It's like, I am the worst.
But, you know, fight for yourself.
Yeah, like it was backed up by stuff, but it was still just like, oh, you feel rude, don't you, asking for something that you can't return.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
Exactly. And on that note, we shall end this podcast. Thank you so much for coming on, Lauren.
Thank you for having me, Lucy.
Appreciate it so much.
For the toast.
Yeah, you are welcome. If you enjoyed the Sunday Social, there's an episode every month. It comes out sometime around the end of every month. And there's a playlist as well on my channel if you want to go see that. Follow Lauren on Instagram and Twitter. I'll leave those links in the description.
And email me.
And email, yeah, I won't leave her email. I'm glad you mentioned that at the end of the video, or you just get so many people.
But if you can find it, then email me.
I'm sure it's a bit. I managed, the way I got my first job in London was by cold emailing Jack and Finn and Googling for their email address.
Sick!
So it works. It really works. And now I'm still friends with all of them. They don't hate me.
It all worked out.
Yeah. So all links there. Is there anything else I need to do for like what's this called? Housekeeping? I don't think so.
No, I think we're good.
No. Alright, well thank you very much.
I had to go to the studio and actually do my job now.
Yeah. Perfect timing. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.